were still a child.
I stopped being a child the minute the strip turned pink, okay? I had to figure out how to live. I found a good job.
As a maid, with all your brains and talent.
I worked my way up. I run the place now. I built a life on my own with no help from anyone.
Yes, and think of where you would have been if you'd accepted a little help, And where Rory would have been? But no, you were always too proud to accept anything from anyone.
Well, I wasn't too proud to come here to you two begging for money for my kid's school, was I? No.
While the average viewer of Gilmore Girls rightfully thinks that Lorelai is emotionally stunted and immature from her pregnancy, I'd say that this is only half true. Instead, I'd argue that Lorelai's reliance on sarcasm is based on the dynamic she had growing up with Emily and Richard Gilmore, who always refused to acknowledge Lorelai's growth as an adult on the series. On the surface, Lorelai's character is charming, funny, and lovingly chaotic. But her reliance on sarcasm to connect with people in Gilmore Girls is more than just a quirky character trait. Taken in context of her character's arc on Gilmore Girls, Lorelai's sarcasm and tendency to talk so quickly is indicative of coping strategies that were shaped by her upbringing with Emily and Richard.
Here, Francine, drink your water. We all need to calm down. Getting upset isn't going to get us anywhere.
What do we tell people?
Well, who needs to know?
What do you mean, who needs to know?
You don't have to yell at me, Strobe.
Everybody has to know, Emily. Everybody will know. We can't pretend this didn't happen.
We could send her away.
Excuse me?
Aren't there places that take girls like that?
Girls like what, Francine?
Well, girls in...
Based on flashbacks in Gilmore Girls, it seems that Lorelai learned early on that the only way she could feel seen and loved was to overshare, overgive, and overconnect with others to create a false sense of emotional connection. Lorelai was raised by Emily and Richard Gilmore, who were emotionally distant and controlling parents. Thus, when viewers see Lorelai heavily relying on overtalking, joking, and emotionally leaning on others instead of coping with her own emotions in early seasons of Gilmore Girls, it can be traced back to the emotional neglect she experienced as a child with Emily and Richard. In the series, Lorelai is constantly belittled by Emily and Richard and the people in their WASP circle for having been a single teenage mother. And even though she works hard to raise her daughter, she is given no grace. I've even seen how some Gilmore Girls fans will constantly harp on Lorelai's poor parenting skills. Lindsay C. Gibson's book, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, I realized that Lorelai was just as much of a victim of circumstances and a people pleaser as Rory was. The only thing is that her traits came out in different ways.
You mean his company?
No, I have a law firm. Christopher could go to school.
I know we're all upset here, folks, but maybe we should ask the kids what they think. Lorelai, Christopher, anything to add here?
Quiet, they'll hear you.
Not likely. I don't know how much longer I can just sit here like this.
It's okay, let them talk.
They're talking about us.
They're trying to figure out what to do.
What to do with our lives.
While many viewers of Gilmore Girls only focus on the adultification of Rory as a teenager, I've always been partial to how Lorelai is treated by viewers and people in the series, and why this makes her appear so immature as she parents her daughter. To me, Lorelai's character resembles Jess in the way he and she were neglected as kids, and how they are hyper-independent. But that's a video for next week. According to Lindsay C. Gibson's book, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, children who grow up with emotionally distant or controlling parents often develop hypervigilance to others' emotional cues and a deep need for connection and approval. These children may overcompensate by being highly social, talkative, and eager to maintain relationships because they learned early that emotional connections are scarce with their caregivers. For instance, Emily and Richard are often emotionally unavailable or critical rather than nurturing to Lorelai. We see this dynamic play out during Friday night dinners. During these scenes, Emily is always cold and judgmental, focusing on appearances and social expectations rather than Lorelai's emotional needs. And Richard is emotionally unavailable with Lorelai. In these dinner scenes, he constantly withholds any form of praise and acts as if his daughter is not there, or shows himself to be unimpressed even when Lorelai does something worthy of praise. To cope, Lorelai responds to these passive-aggressive moments with her parents by using humor and sarcasm as a defense mechanism. This character trait serves two purposes: to entertain herself and to distract from her discomfort. And I'd argue, especially with her father, Lorelai uses these moments to attempt to win approval by being witty. This pattern continues throughout Gilmore Girls.
Thank you.
Thank me for what?
Well, for what you did in there, I'm just unbelievably touched and grateful for what you said to him, for defending me like that. I know it was hard for you because Well, but thank you.
Why do you think I did it?
What?
Why do you think I did it?
I don't know. Out of protectiveness, I guess.
You don't need to be protected, Lorelai. You've made it very clear that you can look after yourself and that you need nothing from anyone.
That's not,
A member of my family was being attacked. The very Gilmore name was being attacked. I will not stand for that, not under any circumstances.
Okay, well, it doesn't really matter why you did it.
Yes, it doesn't matter why I did it. It matters greatly. Lorelai, what are you going to take away from this? That everything that happened in the past is suddenly fine because I defended you?
No.
That the hell that you put your mother and me through for the past 16 years is suddenly washed away? Well, it's not.
We've all been through hell, Dad.
I had to tell my friends, my colleagues, that my only daughter, the brightest in her class, was pregnant and was leaving school.
That must have been devastating.
And then you run away and you treat us as lepers. Your mother couldn't get out of bed for a month. Did you know that? Did you?
No.
We did nothing to deserve that. Nothing to earn that.
I get it. I'm horrible. So why don't you disown me and adopt Christopher? You love him.
Don't be a martyr, Lorelai. Don't be naive. Do you think I loved the boy who got my daughter pregnant? I wanted to kill him. I would have, too, with my bare hands. But there was a proper procedure to be followed in a situation like this.
Marriage.
Christopher was willing to follow the procedure we laid out. You weren't.
What about what I wanted? Dad, didn't that matter to you at all?
Sometimes one has to sacrifice something in order to do what is right.
I feel indescribably sad for you right now, Dad.
Well, save your emotions, Lorelai. I've had my fill of them tonight.
So, we just ended here? Nothing resolved?
I'm tired.
Okay. I came here for a reason. Dad, would you mind sitting down for a minute?
You need money.
I have a situation.
You need money.
Please let me get this out, okay? Rory has been accepted to Chilton.
Chilton? Oh, that's a wonderful school. It's only 5 minutes from here.
That's right, it is. She can start as early as Monday. The problem is that they want me to put down an enrollment fee plus the first semester's tuition, and I have to do that immediately or she loses her spot.
So, you need money.
Yeah. But it's not for me, it's for Rory. And I fully intend to pay you back every cent. I don't ask for favors, you know that.
Oh, yes, we know.
One place viewers can really see this take place is when Lorelai gets a loan from Emily and Richard for Rory's education at Chilton in Season 1, and in the way she pays it back in Season 3. From the start, the show writers for Gilmore Girls set Emily and Richard up to be the adults in the room and cast Lorelai into the role of an overgrown teen. What always bothers me in Gilmore Girls is that Emily constantly fails to provide support for Lorelai outside of offering money for Rory's tuition. And Emily and Richard never acknowledge the effort Lorelai would have had to put in as a single parent to even get Rory prepared academically to go to a school like Chilton. Instead, Emily and Richard only decide to focus on the fact Lorelai's life does not meet their expectations or the WASP aesthetic of appearances. Her parents frequently usurp Lorelai's role as a parent. Emily and Richard do this by laying claim to Rory's genius after Lorelai has already laid the foundation for her daughter to be successful by giving Rory a warm and supportive environment to grow up in. The warm environment of Stars Hollow is completely different than the cold and rigid environment Gilmore Girls fans can see in Emily and Richard's house at Friday dinners, where Lorelai would have grown up as a teenager. The fact that Emily and Richard only see Lorelai as this huge screw-up, even though she is a manager at the inn in Stars Hollow, when she comes to them asking for money for Chilton, highlights how they constantly pigeonhole her into the role of the teenage screw-up. Here, viewers can see what Gibson means when she says that children raised by emotionally immature parents, like Emily and Richard, often become highly attuned to others' emotions. This causes the child to feel a strong need for approval and connection because emotional support is scarce in their families. And this is why we always see Lorelai trying to problem solve for everyone in Stars Hollow, even as her own life falls apart. Children like Lorelai are expected to conform to a predefined role in their parents' lives. This can create high expectations that are never able to be met, making the child of emotionally immature parents feel that love is always conditionally given. Thus, children, like Lorelai, learn early on to overcompensate, becoming excessively talkative and social to secure attention and validation. So, on Rory's first day at Chilton, which is an important milestone of Lorelai and Rory's life, Lorelai is basically pushed to the background, and Emily is re-centered as a main character, just like when Lorelai was a child. Emily's over-reliance on social appearances once again regulates Lorelai to the background of her own life. And as Emily subtly hints to the principal that she and Richard hold the financial and social connections to provide for their granddaughter, she's completely missing the emotional cue that she is making her daughter feel small in that moment. And this is a continuous pattern with Emily and Richard toward Lorelai, where they use their wealth and status to place her into the box of being a failure without acknowledging her growth since her childhood or her autonomy as an adult. The emotional nature of Emily and Richard's love can always be seen whenever Lorelai attempts to show any type of autonomy and steps outside of the box they've placed her in.
So close. Since we are now financially involved in your life, I want to be actively involved in your life.
What does that mean, Mother?
I want a weekly dinner.
What?
Friday nights, you and Rory will have dinner here.
Mom.
And you have to call us once a week to give us an update on her schooling and your life. That's it. That's the condition. If you agree, you come to dinner tomorrow night and leave here with a check. Otherwise, I'm sorry, we can't help you.
I don't want her to know that I borrowed money from you. Can that just be between us?
Does 7 o'clock work for you?
At first, this moment seems like a simple financial decision. However, when we look at it using ideas from Gibson's book, we can see that it is really about emotions, control, and relationships. Gibson explains that emotionally immature parents often have trouble understanding their children's feelings. They may try to control situations or expect things in return when they help others, as Emily does. Because of this, children like Lorelai often grow up feeling like they cannot depend on their parents in a healthy way, which is what Lorelai mentions when she says she thought about how she was going to pay Emily and Richard back from the beginning of season 1 of Gilmore Girls. It is also why viewers of the show see Lorelai be hyper-independent in how she always tries not to rely on anyone in her personal life or in love. Case in point, when Lorelai first accepted the money from Emily and Richard, she knew it would come with a condition. Hence, the catalyst of the Gilmore Girls series, which is the Friday dinners every week. And while Emily and Richard fail to see a problem with the arrangement, Lorelai is always aware that the money she took from her parents for Rory has once again changed her relationship with Emily and Richard into a transactional financial deal. This is the direct opposite of the loving family connection she has always craved from her parents. Even though Lorelai goes along with it for Rory's sake, viewers of Gilmore Girls can see that Lorelai never is fully comfortable with her decision because she knows accepting Emily and Richard's help means giving up control of her life, just as she did when she was a child. Gibson explains that the child of emotionally immature parents often will try to avoid difficult feelings by focusing on actions they can control instead of talking openly. So, when Lorelai finally pays her parents back, she's not just returning money, she's trying to free herself from feeling like she owes Emily and Richard anything. But instead of having that emotional conversation about how she feels, since she knows that her parents won't receive it well, Lorelai uses the practical action of just paying the debt off to solve her feelings of being tied to Emily and Richard. This behavior is what Gibson calls an emotional cutoff.
In the spirit of the evening, Mom, I have something for you.
For me? It's not my birthday.
I know, but here.
Oh. What is this?
It's from Murray. It's taken him this long to write it, partially because of the hurt and pain, and partially because he has pause.
What is this?
That is what I owe you.
What you owe me?
For Rory's school. I promised you I'd pay you back, and now I have, every cent. Thank you again for helping us out. There's no way Rory would be going to Yale if it wasn't for this money, if it wasn't for you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so...
You must be very relieved.
Excuse me?
Your debt is paid. You owe us nothing.
Well, yeah.
You don't need us anymore.
I didn't say...
You don't have to deal with us. You don't have to come over for Friday night dinners. It all works out beautifully, doesn't it?
This isn't about that, Mom.
Oh, no?
No, I owed you money, and I paid you back.
I don't want it.
I can't believe you're mad that I'm paying you back.
I'm not mad. I just think it's extremely unkind of you to use this occasion to inform me you won't be coming over anymore.
I didn't say that.
This said that.
Mom, let me ask you something. Wouldn't you rather we came over here because we wanted to, not because of some threat you're holding over our heads?
Oh, and you would come here voluntarily.
I always said I would pay you back. This is not a surprise.
No, it certainly isn't.
emotional cutoff is done to create distance from Emily and Richard to protect herself, since she knows that her parents' actions are always self-serving and conditional. While it is true, Emily and Richard care for Rory and want her to have the best education. This is mainly because it reflects well on their reputations in their WASP circles. But coming to those dinners also requires Lorelai to be belittled and ignored once a week by her parents to make sure Rory gets the life she deserves. And this requires Lorelai to be placed back into the mindset of being neglected as a child just to see her own daughter thrive. Thus, when she pays her parents back, Lorelai believes that if she is completely independent, her parents cannot control her or hurt her. So, paying them back is her way of building that emotional distance once again. Of course, Emily sees the situation very differently than Lorelai. Emily does not view the money as just a loan. For her, it is a way to stay connected to her daughter and to have a place in Lorelai's life. As a mother, Emily sees her daughter as an extension of herself and does not think of Lorelai as her own person. So, when Lorelai pays her back, Emily feels rejected, almost like she is losing her daughter all over again.
It must have been for your mother to lose you.
She didn't lose me. I embarrassed her, so I had to leave.
But Lorelai, even in the best of circumstances, you never want to think that your child doesn't need you anymore.
She just wanted me out of the house so she didn't have to explain why my school uniform didn't fit anymore.
Well, that's not the impression I got when she came to see me.
What? When did she come to see you?
Oh, must have been 5 years ago when I came back for that visit to Stars Hollow. She came and found me at the inn.
Why?
I think she wanted to meet me, and she asked me to send her photos of you and Rory from those years when you were staying with me. She never told you?
No, she definitely...
Instead of expressing the sadness directly to Lorelai as a healthy human being would, Emily does what any controlling, emotionally immature parent would, and she reacts with frustration and by trying to reassert her control, which only makes things worse. And Richard, being Richard, is emotionally distant and passive-aggressive, leaving the emotional labor in the scene to Emily.
I was trying to do a good thing here. When Dad gave me the money, one of the first things that jumped into my head was to...
When Dad gave you the money? When Dad gave her the money?
Now, Emily...
You gave her this?
It was her money.
It was from that investment, Mom.
I'd appreciate it if you'd stay out of this.
Why are you mad at me?
I told you not to tell your mother about that money.
When did you tell me that?
At lunch.
You did not.
I did too.
Dad, I swear you didn't tell me not to tell Mom.
Why do you think I met you in the day at a restaurant, Lorelai? Think.
You kept this from me, Richard?
I knew you would be upset.
You lied to me.
I had to give it to her. I was legally obligated.
You're also legally obligated to your wife.
Mom.
Don't you talk to me.
Now you're overreacting.
Don't you talk to me either.
Don't be mad at Dad.
Stay out of this.
Well,
don't.
Mom, please. Just because I gave you this money doesn't mean we're never going to come over here again. We will come over. Maybe not every week, but there will be the occasional Friday night dinners.
No, there won't.
Grandma.
I don't need anybody doing me any favors. You are released from your obligation, Lorelai. Have a nice birthday, have a nice life. I'm going to bed.
Dad?
Not now.
He even brushes off Lorelai's sadness that he'd only want to meet with her to talk about business or finances and not for sentimental reasons. In this way, Richard completely misses that his daughter thought the two of them were having a casual father-daughter meal together. This is the saddest part of the scene to me since Richard basically brushes off both women's emotions. And this is what makes the scene so emotional to me. Both Lorelai and Emily want a relationship with each other. However, they do not know how to communicate in a healthy way. Lorelai protects herself by pushing away from her parents, while Emily tries her hardest in her own unhealthy way to hold on too tightly to Lorelai. And all the while, the parent that Lorelai is always trying to please, Richard, is oblivious to her desire to connect. Because of this, every character's actions in the Gilmore family ends up hurting the other person, even though none of them wants that. Thanks to this, in the end, Lorelai paying back the money is not really a victory. It does give her independence, but it also creates more distance between her and Emily and Richard. As Gibson's ideas suggest, true healing with emotionally immature parents would require both sides to be open, honest, and emotionally understanding. Taking these steps to reconcile their relationship is something that Emily, Richard, and Lorelai are not yet able to do at this point in their relationship. And if I'm being honest, as a Gilmore Girls fan, I don't think this is something I ever saw happen between Richard and Lorelai in the series. However, I do think Emily and Lorelai reach common ground in A Year in the Life, giving them more understanding of one another. Lorelai's decision to pay back the money at once makes sense, but it also shows how hard it can be for a child to balance independence with staying connected to the people we love when they are emotionally immature. This scene also shows how much Lorelai is willing to sacrifice for Rory's happiness. It can't be denied that Emily and Richard provided material comfort and stability to Lorelai as a child, but they were emotionally unavailable and only seemed to even attempt a connection with her through Rory as Gilmore Girls progresses. And even then, they usurped her power and role as Rory's mother at every chance they got. In flashbacks to Lorelai's teenage years, we see this pattern as well. As a mother, Emily was always controlling, critical, and heavily focused on appearances. The scene that specifically comes to mind is Lorelai's debutante ball gown fitting. In the scene, Emily berates Lorelai for having gained weight because her dress doesn't fit. Gilmore Girls viewers know that this is because Lorelai is pregnant already. But the way Emily callously tells Lorelai to go and jog around the neighborhood to drop pounds and fit into the dress is disgusting for a mother to say to her child.
Hold your breath.
I am.
The only thing I can think of is the dressmaker must have written the measurements down wrong. Well, what are we supposed to do now? I certainly can't take a picture of you like that.
Sorry.
I'll just have to have him come back next week. And I'm going to call that woman at the dress shop and give her a piece of my mind. My God, is everyone in the world completely incompetent? Put on your sweats and run around the block. You're going to fit into the next dress no matter what.
In this scene, Emily only focuses on how she feels about the dress. Viewers of Gilmore Girls may notice that Emily never asks Lorelai if she likes her debutante dress. Instead, she bulldozes over Lorelai's own desires and regulating her to a minor character in her own life. As a character, Emily exhibits what Gibson describes in her book as the driven and controlling, emotionally immature parent. This type of parent has high expectations for their child, and their approval is often tied to conditional expressions of love, which can only be given out when they are satisfied with their children's performance in the given role they've set for the child. And this parent's emotional response is often framed as criticism to exert their control in the child's life. This can be seen in all Emily's interactions with Lorelai. For example, when feelings. Not once do Gilmore Girls fans see Emily offer Lorelai any kind words at having raised a well-rounded daughter who is able to get into a prestigious school like Chilton. Instead, she and Richard yet Lorelai stays calm and continues to put her daughter's well-being before her own emotional needs. Instead, she relies heavily on her coping mechanisms to respond to her mother's jibes with humor and rapid talking in her usual way. These behaviors are a defense mechanism that distracts from Lorelai being uncomfortable when she has to grovel to Emily and Richard as a means of providing for Rory. And it masks Lorelai's constant hope to gain any approval from her parents and show that she's matured beyond needing her parents' affection, even though she constantly craves it. This tug-of-war of emotions is especially felt in Lorelai's relationship with her father. Where Emily is hypercritical of Lorelai, Richard is often distant and completely ignores Lorelai altogether. Instead, he is often shown to prioritize work over his family throughout the series.
Why are you doing this, Dad?
Well, reading is good for you. You learn things.
Jason was your partner.
If we are going to discuss this, let's go into my office.
Jason was your partner, and he said he was going to take care of it.
Lorelai.
Dad, no, I'm fine talking right here. Jason said he was taking care of everything, and you didn't even give him a chance before you cut him out.
This is business.
No, you took everything from him, Dad. You're ruining his reputation. You're making it impossible for him to work.
I did what I had to do.
You didn't have to do this.
Oh, thank you for your opinion.
That company was so horrible to you. They treated you like dirt, they forced you out, and you chose them over him?
I am not choosing anyone
I just don't
over...
understand why you would do this. Is it because of me? Are you taking this out on him because...
Did you not hear what the man said? Did you not hear Floyd threaten to go after everything your mother and I have?
Yes.
Everything I've worked for. This house, our livelihood.
There has to be something else you can do.
Go home, Lorelai.
No, Dad, please. I'm sorry that I lied to you about dating Jason, but you can't destroy him like this.
I'm hardly destroying him.
You took his entire business. You've left him with nothing. He's talking about moving, leaving.
So what?
So, I'm in a relationship with him.
Then go with him.
You know I can't go with him. I have a business, I have a house, I have Rory. I can't just pick up and leave.
Well, then you've made your choice.
Dad, stop it.
I am tired of this, Lorelai. You've shown absolutely no concern about what happens to me, what happens to your mother. The only thing you care about is what happens to your boyfriend. And the worst part of it is that I never expected you to act any differently.
Gibson would describe Richard as a passive and emotionally distant parent. Over the course of Gilmore Girls, we see that Richard is an absentee parent who is uninvolved in Lorelai's life even when he's present. While he, like Emily, has high expectations for Lorelai, he leaves the emotional labor and pressure to be set by his wife. This creates an unbridgeable gap between himself and Lorelai that his daughter constantly tries to cross throughout all 7 seasons of the original Gilmore Girls, but never manages. It also sets his wife up as the villain of the series since Emily is the one who takes interest in Lorelai and constantly badgers Lorelai to meet her parents' unobtainable goals, leaving Richard to not get his hands dirty. Richard's role as the passive and emotionally distant parent also frames him as the silent voice who haunts Lorelai's subconscious. This internal voice nags at her that she's never enough no matter what achievement she reaches on Gilmore Girls. And this is sad because we see Richard quickly gravitate to Rory. In doing so, he opens up to his granddaughter, showing interest in her in a way he never does with Lorelai on Gilmore Girls, even though she's his own daughter and is basically modeling her life after his as a businesswoman. As a Gilmore Girls fan, I always think about Lorelai's delivery flashback scene when it comes to Richard as a metaphor for his role in Lorelai's.
See the timing here.
Dear Mom and Dad, I'm in labor. See you later. Lorelai?
Ow.
Emily, please, I feel ridiculous.
You're having a baby. Do you know that, Lorelai?
Well, that explains the stomach ache.
You do not leave your house when you're having a baby without telling your mother. You say, excuse me, Mom, I'm having a baby. Give me a ride to the damn hospital.
Emily, please, I wore the wrong shoes for this.
Of all the things in the world I had a right to do, driving my daughter to the hospital to give birth, especially since she's 16 years old and doesn't have her driver's license yet, is definitely one of them.
Ma'am, I need you to wait out here, please.
Why?
Because we're going into the delivery room.
I want to go in.
No, Mom, please.
Yes, Emily, please.
Fine, we'll be right here when you...
Super.
And do not think we're finished discussing this, young lady, because we are not.
Emily, let's sit here.
In this scene, viewers hear Emily berating Lorelai as she's in labor for leaving the house without telling them. Meanwhile, Richard is steadily droning on and on about how his shoes don't fit. On the surface of the scene, Emily is cast as the usual villain in Lorelai's life because she's insulting her daughter and criticizing her about sneaking out the house to get to the hospital, all while her daughter is going into labor. Yet, Emily is at least taking interest in Lorelai's life and making an effort to be present. And even if this looks like Emily being her usual hypercritical self, it at least shows some type of care for her daughter. Richard, on the other hand, is emotionally distant and cold in the scene. He doesn't show any feelings about the fact that he's about to become a grandfather or the fact that Lorelai is clearly in pain. As a teenager, when I first saw this scene on Gilmore Girls, I chalked it up to gender roles in the United States in the 80s when Lorelai was giving birth, much like Rory's birthday party, when he sits outside reading the magazine. But now, as an adult, I realize that Richard never places any value on Lorelai as a person, and any feelings of fatherly love he had leaves him once Lorelai gets pregnant. It isn't until Richard recognizes potential in Rory that he even seems to come around to Lorelai's pregnancy as having been anything but a mistake. And if Gilmore Girls fans are honest, this isn't because he loves Rory either. It's mainly because Richard knows he will get bragging rights in his WASP circle for his granddaughter being smart. To Richard, Rory is his chance to reinstate value to the Gilmore legacy that was previously tarnished by Lorelai's teenage pregnancy, as opposed to him deciding he loves Lorelai. While Rory is what draws the Gilmores together, she's also what constantly divides this family, causing allegiances to form and her mother to relive her childhood trauma weekly.
Impressive.
And this is my favorite place.
The tool shed?
No, this is where we used to live.
What?
Right when Mom and I moved here, this was our apartment. But I know it looks small, but it's really pretty. Come on. See, we had our bed right over there, and Mom put up this really pretty curtain around the tub so that it looked like a real bathroom. And we would just sit outside at night when the inn would have parties, and we'd just listen to music and feed the ducks and... Grandma? Grandma, wait. What's the matter?
Nothing.
Did something happen? Are you sick? Is it the teriyaki?
I'm fine. It's just getting late. I have to go.
But...
Hey, do you mind?
What?
Gibson says that emotionally mature adults are able to reflect on their actions, understand others' feelings, and handle uncomfortable emotions. Lorelai shows signs of this growth. Viewers of Gilmore Girls can see this in how she creates a stable life in Stars Hollow, builds a successful career, and forms a long-term friendship and eventual relationship with Luke Danes. By the end of Gilmore Girls, Lorelai even starts to recognize her mistakes and tries to repair her relationships. Even so, Lorelai does not become perfectly emotionally mature. By season 7 of the original series, viewers can see how Lorelai still struggles with being defensive, especially with her parents, and how she has difficulty separating her past experiences, being hurt in relationships from her present life, in the areas of romance with Luke and Christopher. This means that Lorelai's growth is real, but uneven. Lorelai's role as a parent is one of the most interesting parts of her story. In many ways, she breaks the Gilmore cycle of being emotionally immature as a parent. Viewers can see this in the way Lorelai gives Rory the love, attention, and support that she did not receive as a child. This parenting style means that Rory grows up feeling safe, heard, and encouraged to be herself. This matches Gibson's idea of emotionally mature parenting, where a child's feelings are respected and valued. However, Lorelai...
Sorry, I'm just being silly.
Maybe you don't like the fact that now she has a place away from you. Someplace that's just her own.
I said I was fine.
Or maybe it's because it's so large and spacious and has 4 solid walls around the bathtub.
Excuse me?
I mean, it may not be exciting or bohemian, but at least it doesn't have shovels propped up against the sofa either now, does it?
I'm sorry, I missed the checkered flag. When did the argument start?
Is it because it's not a shack in the woods? Or is it the proximity to me that's making it so uncomfortable for you?
What are you talking about?
You hated us that much?
What?
You had to take that little girl away. That was bad enough, but to that? To live there in a shed like a hobo?
Who uses the word hobo anymore?
I saw it. I saw that horrible little pit you so proudly ran to. I saw what you chose over your own family. You would have lived in the gutter, in the street, in the cardboard box, anywhere, as long as you didn't have to be near us. Isn't that true?
Mom?
Isn't that true, Lorelai?
Mom, I was very young, and I was very unhappy, and I needed to be someplace that wasn't here.
Excuse me.
I also make some mistakes as a parent. One major issue is that she sometimes blurs the line between being a parent and being a friend. She often treats Rory like a peer, sharing adult problems and depending on her daughter for emotional support. Gibson explains that this kind of role reversal can put pressure on a child to take care of the parent's feelings. As a result, Rory often feels the need to be the good and responsible one, which is another pattern Gibson identifies in children of emotionally immature families. Lorelai also tends to overcorrect when parenting because of her own childhood. Since Emily and Richard were very controlling, Lorelai always gives Rory a lot of freedom, trusting her to make good decisions on her own without too much guidance. And because Emily and Richard were emotionally distant, she becomes very emotionally involved in Rory's life. While Lorelai and Rory's mother-daughter relationship is a warm and loving one, it also leads to a lack of boundaries and difficulty when Rory starts to become more independent. Like when Rory makes the decision to drop out of Yale. In these moments on Gilmore Girls, Lorelai often initially reacts strongly when things do not go as she expects with Rory, because her daughter is the only person who she does not keep at a distance emotionally. This has a lot to do with how her pregnancy was treated by Emily and Richard and Lorelai's decision to run away from home to raise Rory by herself.
Are you sure that you're not just running scared?
Rory.
Because I think that you really love him, but you just freaked out and you don't know what to do. Because you did this before. With Max, in fact.
Oh, Rory, I don't want to talk about this. I thought that by saying enough and turning off the light, you would get the message. Apparently not. The Skywriter will be here in a minute.
I'm asking you a question.
I am a grown woman.
Says the woman with the Hello Kitty waffle iron.
I have earned the right not to be quizzed about my social life by my 16-year-old daughter.
I thought I was your best friend.
When we're at a U2 concert, you are my best friend, but right now you're my 16-year-old daughter, and I'm telling you, I do not want to have this conversation.
Well, I do.
Well, tough.
Becoming a mother at 16 forced Lorelai to take on adult responsibilities before she was emotionally ready. Lorelai develops what Gibson calls an internalizer personality. This means she is sensitive, aware of emotions, and forced to figure things out on her own without much support. However, Lorelai is not a typical internalizer. Instead of trying to please her parents, she rebels. At just 16 years old, she leaves home to raise her daughter on her own. This decision shows her strong desire for independence, but it also shows how uncomfortable she is with relying on her parents. Becoming a mother at such a young age deeply affects Lorelai's emotional growth. According to Gibson's ideas, when someone experiences stress or trauma early in life, part of their emotional development can become stuck. Lorelai becomes very capable in practical ways. This can be seen in how she builds a career and raises Rory. However, emotionally, Lorelai sometimes acts more like a teenager than an adult. Over the course of Gilmore Girls, fans see Lorelai be impulsive in relationships, avoid serious conversations, and use humor to hide her true feelings. These traits show how she learned to cope with discomfort as a child instead of working through it. As Gilmore Girls goes on, though, Lorelai does begin to grow. At 16, Lorelai becomes a mother and chooses independence over staying in a household where her emotional needs were consistently ignored by Emily and Richard. As a new parent, Lorelai rejects the emotionally distant environment of her parents' home. Instead, she runs away to create a new world in Stars Hollow, where she can better control her emotional relationships to minimize being hurt by others. Running away with her baby is an early sign of Lorelai's coping strategies. This desire to be independent is important because Gibson explains that children, like Lorelai, who have been raised by emotionally immature parents, often feel disconnected and emotionally lonely, even if their material needs are met. Emily's controlling nature and focus on appearances, combined with Richard's emotional distance, has always left Lorelai to navigate her feelings.
This with you.
She's doing the same thing you did.
No, she's not.
She's gonna get pregnant.
No, she's not.
She's gonna ruin everything just like you ruined everything.
No, she's not. No, she's not. No, she's not. Rory is a good kid, Mom. she's not me.
What kind of mother are you to allow this to happen to her?
Oh, I don't know, Mom. What kind of mother were you?
You're gonna lose her. You're gonna lose her just like I lost you.
I am not gonna lose her. Do you hear me? Even if I hadn't gotten pregnant, you still would have lost me. I had nothing in that house. I had no life. I had no air. You strangled me. I do not strangle Rory.
Oh, you're so perfect, and I was so horrible. I put you in good schools. I gave you the best of everything. I made sure you had the finest opportunities. And I am so tired of hearing about how you were suffocated and I was so controlling. Well, if I was so controlling, why couldn't I control you running around and getting pregnant and throwing your life away?
Get out.
What?
You will not come into my house and tell me I threw my life away. Look around, Mom. This is a life. It has a little color in it, so it may look unfamiliar to you, but it's a life. And if I hadn't gotten pregnant, I wouldn't have Rory.
You know that's not what I meant.
Maybe I was some horrible, uncontrollable child like you say, but Rory isn't. She's smart and careful, and I trust her, and she's gonna be fine. And if you can't accept that or believe it, then I don't want you in this house.
Lorelai's story shows both the impact of early emotional neglect and the resilience needed to break negative cycles. Through Gibson's lens of the adult child of emotionally immature parents, Lorelai is both a cycle breaker and a character still navigating her emotional growth, demonstrating that healing from emotional neglect is a gradual, ongoing process. According to Gibson's ideas, healing is not about becoming flawless, but about becoming more aware, more balanced, and more open to real connection. And this is reflected in Lorelai's journey on Gilmore Girls, where Lorelai shows viewers that it is possible to grow beyond your past, even if some challenges and coping mechanisms never fully go away. By the end of the original Gilmore Girls series, Lorelai has started to become more self-aware and confident in expressing her feelings without using sarcasm as a buffer. And fans can see growth in her relationship with her parents, allowing Lorelai to be civil with Emily and Richard without needing Rory as a buffer. By season 7, Gilmore Girls fans may even notice how Lorelai has the occasional warm interaction with each parent without Lorelai being overly sarcastic. And Lorelai even shows a more balanced approach to her dynamic with Emily by the end of a year in the life. Lorelai's story shows both the impact of early emotional neglect and the resilience needed to break negative cycles. Through Gibson's lens, Lorelai is both a cycle breaker and a character still navigating her emotional growth, demonstrating that healing from emotional neglect is a gradual, ongoing process. In the end, Lorelai's story shows that healing from emotionally immature parenting is not perfect or complete. As Gibson suggests, people can grow and improve, but they may still carry some of their past with them. Lorelai's journey on Gilmore Girls reflects this idea, showing both progress and ongoing challenges. But tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think Lorelai's sarcasm is a byproduct of being raised by Emily and Richard? Or do you think her life choices are what made Lorelai develop thick skin and a sense of humor to keep going as a single teenage mother